Be Nice, what inspired you to write Be Nice?
Well, because you brought it up, the or else part means, be nice or live a miserable life. Be nice or not be happy. So people think that it's a threat, and it's not a threat. It's just that's the way things are. That's the law of the universe. What goes around comes around, and if what you're putting out there is not nice, then that's the life you're going to have. That's the life that's going to come back to you. So that's why that title. Oh, and by the way, Larry King wrote the foreword for the book, and originally the book was Be Nice. And so he said, hey, you're writing this book, I'd like to write the foreword for you. He's like, but I don't like this name, Be Nice. It needs to be Nice or else.
That's Larry King.
That's my Larry King impression, or else. So he's the one who added the or else part to it.
And he was a good mentor to you in the whole time of writing this. While you were writing it, he was reading it. And
yeah.
How did you hook up with Larry King?
He married a friend of mine. I think his 12th wife. No,
yes.
No, 7th wife, 8th wife, whatever.
He loved weddings, Larry.
Yeah, he loved weddings, and Sean, his wife, had been a friend of mine since I was 13 or 14 years old, and so they got married, and that's how I met Larry. And then, in the mid '90s, Modern Salon magazine. Remember when magazines were printed, and Modern Salon magazine did a story on me, and they called me the Larry King of the beauty industry because I had been doing podcast interviews. And still, by the way, to this day, I still do every single month. I do a podcast interview, and so
before
Larry
they were
King,
popular,
before there was the term podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
Yeah, we mailed them out in cassette tapes to subscribers. They're like, that's what my daughter asked me a couple of weeks ago. What's a cassette, Daddy? What was the question? Oh yeah, so Larry, go to Larry. So they said I know Larry King of the beauty industry, and so Larry called me. He's like, well, if you're the Larry King of the beauty industry, you need to come over and I'll teach you how to be Larry King. And so I went to his house, and he literally spent the day with me and taught me how to interview people. And I mean, the input that he's given to me, I still use. I have people say, "Gosh, I've been interviewed hundreds of times, and that's the best interview I've ever done." Thanks. How'd you draw that out of me? And I'm like, Larry King.
Maybe you can teach me something.
What he taught me is that it's not just for interviewing people, it's about having a conversation. We talk about having conversations that really matter, and sometimes it's just like surface stuff, and his style was just to go deep. He's like, just never assume that you got the full answer. So somebody gave you a question, there was a word in their answer that they gave you that you can say, well, build on that. What did you mean by that? Well, where did that happen? And how did that come about? And so just to build upon the one first question that you ask people, so and you have a whole interview.
Be a good listener.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking of what you're going to say, listen and feed off of that question.
Well, it's so funny because in the very beginning, like the first person I interviewed was Vidal Sassoon. 27 years ago, and of course I had it all mapped out of exactly what I was going to ask, and I'd ask my first question and he answers something super interesting, and I'm like, next question. Like, meaning there's more to his answer, but I didn't know that. I didn't know. Keep on going with it, right?
Look at the questions I have here. We haven't even hit one of them yet, and that's the great thing. That's what I love about talking rather than interviewing, is because it's a conversation. And I need to learn more of that as I get started, and I learned a lot from you and how I've seen your interviews change throughout the years, and they've gotten more like, tell me more, tell me more. But like you said in the beginning, we're like, so where did you come from? What's your name?
Right.
What you do? But this book right now, Winn, I have to say, you wrote this when?
18 years ago.
How bad do we need it now?
Oh my gosh.
Do you see the world going that way now? Have we, since 2020, it's kind of like we went backwards and worse.
Here's how we need to look at it, and we absolutely need to look at it this way. That yes, there are more challenges today in terms of mental health, struggle of addiction. Across the board, we could go down the list and name all of the challenges and problems that are going on. But here's how we have to look at it, is because there's a lot of people going through all of those challenges, and many people are healing themselves. So what's going to happen is healers are going to go out into the world. People who have overcome addiction that maybe would not have gone through that and recovered many years ago because of the way the world is right now. I need to get clean. I need to clean up my life. because relationships are completely demolished and torn apart because I unfriend you. We were just talking about that. I disagree with you on one point in life, and therefore we can never be friends. We can never sit down and have dinner. We can never have a civil conversation. We can't debate. We can't learn from each other because I disagree with this one thing, and I'm going to unfriend you. And so I think that we're all going through that stuff. And what's happening is we're learning. It's like, I got to dig in deep. I'm struggling. I've never struggled before. I'm struggling with my family life. I'm struggling with my self-esteem and my confidence. I'm struggling raising my kids. I'm struggling with addiction. And what we're having to do is we're having to heal. We're having to get mentors. We're having to get better. And what's going to happen is that the planet is now going to send out a whole bunch of healers that didn't exist before. Meaning it's on the uprise. That curve of the vibration of energy is only going to get better and better and better.